Shout out to Aura.com for sponsoring today's video. More on them later. There are 4 EDC items slash accessories I always splurge on. And then there's 2 not so much I actually probably rarely splurge on. I have my reasons why. Let's talk about that. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you like talking about man cave, EDC, survival type stuff, because I might talk about man cave items that I splurge on as well. Let's get it. Being that this is my channel and maybe this isn't your first rodeo, you would almost assume that the item that I splurge on the most would be something like this, a knife, and you, sir, would be wrong. The first item I always splurge on when it comes to EDC accessories or items themselves is a watch. Now, specifically, I'm a fan of field watches, pilot watches, but I love a good, reliable watch with a very good movement, something similar to this. This one is by Ben Roos. This is the original field watch that was given to soldiers during Vietnam. It was originally used by soldiers during World War II, and they were originally called trench watches because they were used in the trenches, and they slowly transitioned to the word field watches. But I love them, man. It doesn't matter. They've evolved so much, and you can really get them for different prices, and you don't no longer have to spin a bag. And I call this a splurge purchase, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm spending some of the prices that you could find on a field watch. For instance, an IWS watch might cost you $5,000, $5,500, where the watches that I'm wearing today are less than $1,000. So yes, they're splurges in the world of EDC, but they're kind of a steal in the world of watches. Why do I like a reliable watch? Well, they kind of transcend the world of everyday carry. Because if you have a very good field watch with a good mechanism, doesn't rely on a battery, and you're in some type of situation where there's an EMP or some type of emergency, or you can't get a battery, or you're stuck in the field for a long time, you want a watch that's accurate, reliable, and you're able to use. You can eventually decide maybe to take it apart and turn it into a compass, or leave it as is and use it for time. And being stuck in a survival situation and having no clue what the time or date is, it's one of the most disorienting feelings in the world. And I just think that a good watch kind of takes you above and beyond that. For the splurge is always some type of watch. I'm a big fan of the field. I know it sounds a little silly, but I just think that's an important purchase, at least for me. So if my first splurge item was a watch, then my next splurge item when it comes to EDC accessories or EDC items themselves must be something that we all would realize to be important, right? Maintenance gear. Okay, I know it sounds a little bit lame, but I splurge on maintenance gear. I like to buy the proprietary maintenance gear that some of these companies offer. For instance, I have Leatherman's maintenance kit that's specifically designed for their multi-tools. I have several work sharp knife sharpeners. You can also use it to sharpen other items as well. I have a lot of hand sharpeners. I'm all about maintenance when it comes to my EDC item. I always splurge on it. I'm always more prone to get the name brand versus just getting some random item that you've probably never heard of. Maintenance is big with me because if you can't afford a lot of EDC items, I think it's critical that you take care of the few items that you have. And now I do it for everything that I have, whether it's gonna be actual cleaning agents for my wax canvas. I'm all about making sure that things are clean, functional, and working like they're supposed to. That makes stuff stay safe. That makes things are reliable. And I think it's a lot better than always having the best and the most new or the most glitzy thing out there. If you're not spending stuff on maintenance, then you're absolutely doing it wrong. So if all these items are EDC maintenance items that are a splurge for me and they help protect and do preventative maintenance for my EDC gear, today's video sponsor has to be my equivalent preventative maintenance for my personal life. Now, the thing about Aura.com is that it is your one-stop shop for alerting you for anything that has to do with your social security number, to your antivirus for your computer, or even monitoring your bank account activities. I specifically like Aura's data broker request feature, where they go to different data brokers, they request your information to be removed so that they no longer have your email, your phone number, all those annoying things that they use and sell to other folks. Then they can reach out to you and just be a pain in the neck. Also, I really enjoy having Aura as my all-in-one usage for my computer. Before Aura, I had a separate VPN service, antivirus service, and a service that scanned my computer for any other type of threats, specifically type of Wi-Fi that was not very good. Now with Aura.com, everything is all in one. They do credit monitoring, monitor my computer, and help get rid of all of that annoying data broker services. Click the link in the description, get yourself a free trial of Aura, or click the QR code on the screen. Appreciate Aura for sponsoring today's video. This next item, I am guilty as sin for being a complete splurger. Someone who just absolutely goes over the top when it comes to these items. But another thing I learned in the Marine Corps is that you can't get anywhere if your gear doesn't come along with you. And that is why the next item I always splurge on is a good, reliable EDC bag. These are some of the bags that have gone through the rotation over the past few years. I'm always testing out new bags, whether they're full-size bags to go on your bag with 2 straps, or sling bags, transit bags, messenger bags, all sorts of different outfits when it comes to a bag. You know, this was my EDC bag for 2022. I love this thing, the Brown Buffalo Conceal Pack 21. It has since been retired. It may make a comeback, especially if I need to do a comparison with a future bag. My current EDC bag being the Vertex Gamut 3.0. I've done a full video on my loadout for my EDC gear. I'll make sure I link that, guys, for you so you can check that out. But it also can be the Covert bag by 511, which is a great bag for CCW. You also have full bags like by Rhino Ready. They make a very great bag that's great for rucking. I've also had the Ready Pack 3.0, the Ready Pack 2.0 by Vertex. I'm just really big on being able to get your items from A to B, the bag being comfortable, not making you sweat a lot. It keeps your items safe. It keeps you safe. It's reliable, has plenty of room, or the room that you need for that specific mission. So I just don't like to cheap out when it comes to bags. Now, what does cheap out mean? For instance, this Brown Buffalo cost me a little bit less than $400, but very, very well made in America bag. This Vertex pack, full disclosure, this Vertex pack was sent to me, but I think this thing runs about $250 if you're gonna pick yourself up something like this from their website. So it just really depends. It's a rare day if I'm spending $49, $50 on a bag, because I wanna ruck it, I wanna carry it, I wanna carry very large loadouts in it, survival gear, EDC gear, and it cannot fail. It cannot be the item that fails me when I need it most. So a splurge for me is always a bag. So if my first EDC splurge item was the watch, then you got the maintenance items and bags. Of course, my last one will be something that is unique and probably specific for me. That has to be EDC Storage and EDC Displays. Now, I have a couple of different options here. One of the upcoming Marine X EDC tray, which I'm a big fan of. Get this thing all in your face. But it's basically a walnut tray, or, you know, kind of a valet tray that kind of shows your EDC items. I like all sorts of stuff, whether it be catch-alls that are made of leather. I have the Marine X EDC storage box, which are good for your REs. I have smaller catch-alls. We have EDC cases. It's important for me to not only store my EDC items properly, whether that be valet trays or boxes, but also keep them safe, keep them from getting corrosion, from, you know, any extra humidity. I splurge on that type of stuff. I have a huge Husky box, which is literally dedicated for my EDC items, flashlights, cases, bags, survival gear, all that type of stuff in one large Husky toolbox. You don't have to go big like I did. You can keep it simple. Get yourself something like from Vault or from Data Crew. Get yourself a EDC tray or catch-all. You can go to my website, check out the storage box. Keep your gear aesthetically pleasing and on display. You're more likely to keep it in the same exact spot every day, so you know where all your stuff is, your wallet, your knife, your pens, etc. And you're more likely to keep your stuff from getting corrosion sooner than it should, from getting excessively dirty, from it growing legs and walking away, because if it's in the exact spot that you want it to be in, you're gonna notice immediately when something is missing. This is why I splurge on this type of stuff, whether I DIY it myself, which takes a lot of time for me as a splurge, or I go out and buy it. I'm always a big fan of that type of stuff. Now we got to talk about two items that I absolutely do not splurge on, but you may decide that you want to splurge on. The first one has to be a knife. Now, what do I mean by it's not a must-have splurge? Let's just keep it real. This here is a Benchmade Mini Freak. This thing probably cost me over $300. A splurge, right? But it's not a must splurge. These four items that I talked about earlier are must splurges for me, things that I always will splurge on. Because just as easily as I have this Benchmade Mini Freak, I'm also okay with having something like the Civivi Mini Praxis, which is $29.99, or getting my something by Kershaw like the RJ Martin, which is normally sub $40. And I'm not a big fan of splurging on knives all the time, because at the end of the day, my EDC maintenance items can bring a knife up to a level of almost what feels like a splurge or a luxury item. You get a knife that doesn't have the best edge on it, put a good edge on it. Do some honing, do some full on sharpening, find the angle of it, get it to where you need it to be. And when it comes to the materials and scales and all that stuff, a lot of that stuff is swappable, so you don't need to necessarily spend that right out the gate, because you're kind of going to be able to swap that out in the future anyhow. The next thing I rarely splurge on is anything that has to do with EDC trash, pocket art, or I also put this in the same group, handkerchiefs. Now, shout out to Awesome Hanks. They did send me their hanks out. They're super nice. They're high quality. I can definitely see myself using them to wipe stuff down, such as the cell phone or my sunglasses. Pocket trash such as nucks or beads, challenge coins. I don't splurge on that stuff because it doesn't have a lot of utility that I can't get with another item. You may splurge on that stuff, but things like curators and stuff, I just don't see the purpose in splurging on it other than aesthetics. Because if there was some large EMP, some type of disaster stuck in the woods, those items aren't really gonna carry me through the way, or they don't bring me joy, kind of like some of my storage items. Comment down below. What are some items that you always splurge on when it comes to your EDC, whether it be the items themselves or accessories? What are some things you absolutely would never splurge on? I would love to know with your comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, or you can do a one-time donation via the super thanks button down below. Either one is fine by me. If this is your first time stopping by, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you a part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.